Yeah, so my stand for my my H4, to record the audio because the camera's so far away, it broke. So I am using my PRS mug. Oh, this is awesome. This is called making do with what you have. Gonna ask to spill some tea here. Actually, there's no tea to spill. My life is very, very normal. The only tea that would be spilling would be in this cup. Hello everyone, thank you so much for joining me today for the first episode of KT Time, that's what I'm calling it. So I'm going to be utilizing this kind of format more and more so in the future, just casually sitting down, camera right here, no background, no lighting, just in front of my kitchen window. But I want to give you a Patreon update, a life update, and then a fun Q&A. You left the most hilarious questions. But I have a lot of what is happening right now, a lot of the amazing and really cool things happening right now in my life. I have you to thank for that, because I can make videos all day long and I could publish them, but really they mean absolutely nothing if nobody watches them. So thank you so much for that. Thank you so much for showing your support to not only to me, but to my family and my little one right down there. And I'm just really grateful for that, because it's really been a nice source of solace to me, especially during this time in my life. So thank you for that. Okay, Patreon changes. I was trying to think about, okay, what can I change in order to add even more value? Oh, baby, you singing. You be good, little baby. Oh, baby girl. So with Patreon, what I wanted to do is just switch things up a bit and then try to focus my time by adding more value to you. So with the dollar patrons, I am doing away with the dollar tier, but everyone that is currently in the dollar tier, that you can remain a dollar patron. You're still going to receive the same benefits as a dollar patron, but I'm capping it. And then I'm going to be creating a new tier that's going to be a couple dollars more. But with that, here are the changes and the added value that I wanted to give you. So one of those things is a spreadsheet that contains every song sheet for every tutorial that I've ever published on YouTube. So it has a link to the chord chart, a link to the free YouTube tutorial, and it's all alphabetized by song title. This was a ton of work, but it was definitely a labor of love, definitely works, and just really happy with it, and received a lot of initial feedback already from you patrons that this was something that just really helped a lot. So no more scrolling through my feed trying to find exactly what you need. It's already there. I'm no longer going to offer the shout out or the behind the scenes video benefit in order to focus more on things that I think will add value, such as maintaining the spreadsheet that contains all the links to the chord charts and tutorials. $5 patrons, you still receive the video lessons to the courses that I have. I have Ukulele 101, 201, Bar Chord Boot Camp. We're working on scales and stretch right now. Yes, I love that one, so it's really fun. $10 patrons, you still have access to the personal coaching, and I haven't changed any of the benefits thus far, but I just needed to make it more clear as to when you should submit your questions for your personal coaching, and also just clarify a few things about, if you don't have a question for this month, it won't roll over for the next month. So next month you don't get two. It just, 1 month, you get a window, and then that is it. It just really helps me to get back to you in a timely manner, and also help keep track of how much I'm doing for you guys. So it just really helps a lot to clarify a few things. So if you need any more clarification, everything is written out on my Patreon page, and it's tiers. Okay, there we go. So life update, things have been really, really busy. Everything hit me emotionally just last week. I mean, between having a baby 4 months ago, during a pandemic, not leaving the house at all for any reason, just recently started going to the grocery store to pick up my groceries. I just open the back hatch and then they stick your groceries in. Really grateful for that service. Thank you, Lord, for that service. It's awesome. Just so much unrest going on, and my mom was in the hospital. She's fine now. It wasn't COVID related at all, so praise the Lord for that. But she's still on the mend, but she's at home right now. I haven't been able to see certain members of my family. I know that a lot of you relate to this right now. that, this is the reality that we're in, but I'm praying that all of you are doing okay and staying safe. You have all been on my heart and on my mind. And I'm glad that to hear, let me start over. I can talk. I'm happy to hear that the channel has been something that has been a source of comfort and solace to you. And that's something that really helps me keep going. Everything hit me between COVID, baby, not being able to see my family, not being able to see my mom, and having all of these life changes and riots and unrest and just so much going on that is so incredibly, it's just so painful to watch all of this. And then to have all of these things, these life changes happening, it hit me all at once. So I've just been really clinging to the Lord, like, all right, Lord, I have to trust that you have it in control. But I want to let you know that if you're feeling that way too, that you're not alone. And if you feel like that there's nothing that you can do, or you're feeling just kind of helpless in this kind of situation, that you're not alone. And as if that wasn't enough, we're moving. We're moving next week. So if you see there's a drop in content, that is why. Oh, baby. She's asleep now. You sleepy, baby. Oh, little baby. All right, here we go, Q&A. Thank you so much for your questions. They made me laugh so hard. I really needed that. Thank you, and hopefully some of these make you laugh too. Okay, AJH Photos from Instagram. He takes amazing photos, by the way. When was the first time you played uke as a part of a band? And it was actually a couple years ago with my worship team. I mainly play electric guitar, acoustic guitar, and I sing. And just a little bit ago, I was able to plug in the uke and have some fun with that. That's been really fun because I don't have to lug as much gear with me. Hauling an acoustic guitar or an electric guitar, you have your amp, pedal board, your electric, and all your other stuff and bells and whistles. Just the uke, oh my goodness, I have this little teeny tiny case and I don't have to worry about anything. Thank you. When did you start learning how to play the guitar and the uke, and how many years have you been playing? So, yay, thank you, that's Evelyn. I started playing guitar, I received my first guitar when I was 18 years old. From my dad, and I was absolutely floored by that because I just never thought that he would buy me a guitar. He's a very practical Chinese man. He's like, nope, if it's not practical, it's not coming in the house. And he bought me my first guitar and I cried because I had this passion for music and I felt like he heard me. That was just really special. I didn't really learn how to play that guitar until I was about 21 years old. 21 years old. And I was really bad at it. So if you ever feel like, man, I'm not very good at this right now, it's okay. You're not alone. But just keep that mentality of like, hey, I'm not good at this yet. It gets better. Keep practicing. Don't give up. I started playing the uke when I was, I'm almost 37, by the way. So I started playing the uke about 10 years ago. Todd Hyde from Hyde Music, he had this little uke that he received as kind of like a PR sample from a company. And he looked at me and he said, here, learn how to play this. Because he wanted to start something called Uke and a Pint at the bar next door of Hyde Music. And where people could come after their work hours and just strum and have some fun, have a drink with their friends, things like that. It never came to fruition, but Hyde Music started large group uke classes, I think a year and a half ago. So it took a while to kind of get in there, but it sparked the flame of me wanting to play the ukulele, and I've always wanted to play it. Jack Picks, if you went on a trip to Machu Picchu, would you bring a uke with you? Absolutely yes, especially because they're making really nice travel ukes now. 4 years ago, I was in Lima teaching music clinics with my church. It's with our sister church down there in Lima. And we were really close to Machu Picchu, but we never made it. Made it to Miraflores, though, just to kind of take a look at the beach and Pacific Ocean. Oh, it's pretty. That was the first time I'd ever seen the Pacific Ocean. Just gorgeous there. All right, this is J.S. Fleming, says, I'm almost a new mom. Congratulations! Oh my gosh, so excited. All right, how close to your due date did it hit you that your whole life was about to change? With my 4-year-old, It was the week before she was born. My husband and I went out to eat because that was our custom every single Friday night. Go out to eat, spend some time together after a long week of working. And it was the week before my daughter was born. And we went out to eat at our favorite Mexican restaurant. And as I was driving away in the car, realized maybe this might be the last time that I ever have dinner with my husband, like not being a mom. And then just a few days later, boop, had my 4-year-old Grace. And then with this one right here, the moment I realized that my life would change again was the day I found out that I was pregnant. That was August 4th, 2019. So just having 2 kids, yeah, it's awesome. Congratulations. Just having kids. I tell my husband that, like, what did I do with my time before I had kids? I feel like I'm more disciplined now. Not saying that if you don't have kids that you're not disciplined, but this is for me personally. But for me, I feel like I'm more disciplined, more focused with my time, and also more intentional the way that I live. And I felt like my life actually finally started, like it finally began when I had kids. The 33 years before that, it's just a blur. Or I look at pictures of me before, when I was a public school teacher. I taught bilingual literacy and ESL. And I look at that person and I'm like, who is that person? Did that actually happen in my life? This is Naomi Purple. Woo! Naomi Purple 2015. What's your favorite Disney song to play on the uke? Oh, man. Bare Necessities. Love it. Love to play that one. Look for the bare necessities. Oh, I'm sorry. Gonna ask to spill some tea here. Actually, there's no tea to spill. My life is very, very normal. The only tea that would be spilling would be in this cup. Okay, San Froyo asks, what is my favorite song to A, sing, and B, perform in front of an audience, because there is a difference. Right now, just to sing in general, I love Did You Rise the Sun for Me? Paint a million stars that I might know your majesty. That's a Hillsong song. And then I love performing Valerie because it's just fun. Why don't you come on over, Valerie? I think this is how you say it. Hayel Garendrio. Is that how you pronounce your name? I hope so. I hope I'm not murdering that name. I'm sorry. It says, what music did you enjoy listening to when you were a child? Stevie Wonder, Ray Charles, Billie Holiday. Oh, I would play her non-stop. I would play my mom's. My mom bought a CD home, and it was a greatest hits of Billie Holiday, and I would constantly listen to it over and over and over again. Good morning, heartache. You're the one who knew me well. And then my dad would listen to classical music all the time. So I grew up listening to Mozart, to Bach, Vivaldi, and just loved classical music. And that's when I was exposed to classical singing. And my mom's a classical singer too. She's a classically trained singer. So she'd be singing as she would be in the shower, and just this beautiful voice booming when you're in the shower, you feel like nobody else can hear you, but really everyone can hear you. That was my mom singing. I listened to a lot of oldies, and a lot of doo-wop from my dad, because my dad loved that, and a lot of Irish music. But because my mother is Irish, we listened to Irish music all the time. So when Gaelic Storm came out, when we first discovered who Gaelic Storm was, oh my gosh, we listened to them nonstop in the car. That's what we would listen to. And a lot of Cherish the Ladies, the Chieftains, Pasta Salad. I love that screen name. You guys have the best screen names. If you could go anywhere in the world, where would you go? Right now, I would go to my parents' house. Wow, wasn't expecting to get emotional there. So because I mentioned earlier that my mom was in the hospital, it was for an infection that she had, and she's not allowed to have visitors for the next 6 weeks. And Haven't been able to see my sisters at all. And because one of my sisters, she works in COVID clinics because she's a nurse. And I haven't been able to see my niece and my nephew either. So I'm really close to my family. Wow, I wasn't expecting to get this emotional actually. But just talking about it and then actually saying it out loud, it's really hard because I'm really close to my family. And so if I could go anywhere in the world, it would be to Madison, Wisconsin, and I would see my family. Be right back. Okay. Okay. Yeah, my sisters haven't met Marie yet. Okay. Whew, okay, yeah, we're back. She was ready for a nap. I'm ready for a nap. CCGG11 says, what are your hobbies outside of music? Are you diving into learning anything new right now? Well, with a 4-month-old, I'm not really diving in anything new, but I would consider that this YouTube channel is, I call it a hobby that also pays some of my bills. So before I had the baby, I was teaching music many more hours than I was investing into the YouTube channel. Maybe in the future, I don't know what's gonna happen, but yeah, I always wondered what it'd be like to be a full-time YouTuber. And yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens. Music is always my hobby too. I used to crochet a lot and now I have kids. So I don't really do much of anything. Besides, I do a lot of cooking, a lot of cleaning, a lot of laundry. And sometimes I get to film and shoot videos, and sometimes I get to pick up my instrument and just play it because it's fun. So Katie Naharo, hi, how's it going, Katie? Has anyone ever mistaken you for someone they knew, or have you ever mistaken a stranger for someone you know? Yes, I think we've all done that, where we've mistaken, like, hey, how's it going? Yeah, just saying hi, thought you were somebody that I knew. When I lived in my hometown, a lot of people I would be mistaken for my sisters a lot, because we're all 4 years apart, and then from a distance we kind of like all look really similar, actually look really, really similar up close too, but we look similar especially from a distance, and then when they get up close they're like, hey, you've changed a little bit, and you're like, yeah, that's because I'm the youngest one. I'm Katie, I'm not Angie or Sarah. It happens to us all, right? Okay, so Tim Kaysen, and then also Isam. I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce your last name, but you comment on all of my videos, so I think that's really sweet of you. Thank you so much. Okay, so Tim and Isam, they say, well, how did you start playing the uke? I answered that beforehand. Todd Hyde from Hyde Music handed me a uke and said, here, learn how to play this. I've always wanted to. And a couple of years ago, I sat my dad down and said, I want to know the family story right from the beginning. And my great-grandfather from China, he left his family to find work, which was very common, so that he could send money back and send, for them to, leave the place where they were in southern China because there was no food and no opportunity. Great-grandfather left to find food, find opportunity, money to send back to that family to provide for them. And he sent money to them, but he never came back for them, so to speak. And he said that his first stop that he worked was Hawaii. I'm like, wait a minute, what? This is the first you've ever told me this. Like, why did you tell me this before? And I've been playing uke before for, about like 8 years. Hayel Carendrio has another one, has like a lot actually. So what was the first what first got you interested in learning music, and when did you learn how to play your first instrument? My first instrument was the piano. I didn't like it. I was just really bored with it. I wasn't taken with it. But it did teach me some really great foundations because I do play, and I do regret quitting. It gave me a really good foundation with my scales and movement, and yeah, I still play. I still can play. But I think it would be a lot better if I just stuck with the lessons, you know what I mean? Discipline is freedom. So what first got me interested in learning music, I would just sing to everything, and my parents would beg me to stop singing. They're like, please stop singing. But I just noticed that was something that was I was very drawn to music, drawn to instruments, and yeah, the piano was the first one that I picked up, and then I switched over to flute. I sang that whole time, and yeah, just a bunch of other different instruments. Once you learn one, you want to learn more, right? Right? What's your favorite thing about being a mom? Wow. There's so much that I love about being a mom. My daughter will say, like my 4-year-old will say, the sweetest things to me. We'll be eating breakfast and she'll look at me and go, love you, Mom. She will dance and sing and we will laugh together and just little goofy things. Like it reminds me that life can be really lighthearted and fun, and there's so many blessings around us that we take for granted. But to her, it's so new. Like we went and visited a butterfly garden the other day. She's like, oh, Mommy, the butterflies are so beautiful. And I'm thinking, when was the last time I thought a butterfly was beautiful? And I actually sat still long enough to notice that it was. Beulah, Robert. All right, so my question is, who inspired you the most in life? I would have to say my parents. Not just who, like one person, I'd say both of them, my mom and my dad. Just knowing what they went through. They got married in 1969, interracial marriage. My mother is Irish, my father is Chinese, and it was definitely something that was not very common back then in the United States. So they were met with a lot of opposition. My mom told me stories about how they would go into restaurants and they wouldn't even look at them. One time they waited in a restaurant for an hour and they wouldn't even serve them a glass of water. So they just got up and they left and they found a different place to eat. They also told me stories about how they tried to find an apartment and no one would give them an apartment because they were an interracial couple when they first got married, except for 2 sisters, Christians, and they rented the upper part of their house to them. So, yeah, they showed them loving kindness like people should. And yeah, they definitely laid down, they definitely inspired me, just seeing how much they sacrificed for us. My mom has an incredible voice. At least I think so. It's beautiful. But she gave up her hopes and dreams of, ever being like some sort of musician or doing something with that to be a nurse, to be a mom, to be a wife. I think about my dad, I think he's incredibly talented as well. I heard stories, I've never seen him play, but he's an incredible athlete and artist. He was a former U.S. history teacher. Definitely inspired me to work hard and what hard work will get you and how far it will take you by working hard. So I really appreciate them for everything that they've done for me. Mom and Dad, I love you. Ebeth Cruz. All right, what is your favorite color? And also, how do you keep learning more? Because sometimes I get stuck. All right, I love red. I love red. I love all colors. I also love like baby pink or rose dusty pink. I love mustard yellow. I like a lot of colors. Oh, I like jewel green. Ooh, that's fun. Ooh, it's really fun. Okay, I get excited. So Warren Turner says, I need some motivation to make me get back into guitar. Okay, you're not the only one. I mean, I think everybody along their musical journey finds themselves in a rut in one point or another. And so for me, what really helps is that if I start listening to the artists that inspired me before, or I start thinking about why I wanted to play in the first place, it just helps me get back to that newness. It can be really difficult, especially when you're learning how to play something, to just be so focused on your progress or on perfection rather than your progress, and you stop having fun. You start thinking like, oh, I should be here, I should be there at this time, and that can get really frustrating. Try to silence those voices as much as you possibly can. Focus on your own journey, not on somebody else's, and get inspired. Listen to other guitarists or just other music. to help you get inspired again, or even read some musical biographies of some people that you admire, some people that have gone through some really hard times, just being inspired by that and just seeing that, hey, life wasn't always rosy and beautiful for them, but it still helped. They still kept putting, how do I put this? They would still put one foot in front of the other, and they kept moving forward. There it is. So Philip's Music, hey Phil, he's also on Instagram. He's been really encouraging. So thank you so much, Phil, you're awesome. So my question is, how do you learn so many songs? I think once you start learning a group of songs, or you just start learning in general, it becomes a lot easier to be able to pick up one after the other. Yeah, do I retain all of that? No, because you still have to practice and just maintain what you've learned, maintenance, so to speak. But once you learn one song and you start making that a habit, it becomes a lot easier to learn the next song and to be able to memorize it. So yeah, just keep practicing, keep working at it, put the effort into it, and keep moving forward. That's really difficult to do, to put the hours and the time to do that sometimes, but really it's all just practice and sitting down and playing. Okay, Hayel has another question. It says, does pineapple belong on pizza? Absolutely. I love pineapple pizza, especially with bacon. I love that. So Yuta has, what got your start on YouTube? That is a fun question here. It was my husband. I did not want anything to do with the internet. I was barely on any type of social media beforehand. And my husband's like, I think this would be a really good move for you, to be able to put your lessons online on YouTube. Let's move into this space right here, because I feel like you've already done everything that you can do with your face-to-face students. Let's move online. Let's try Skype lessons. Let's try YouTube, things like that. And I'm like, no, absolutely not. I was absolutely terrified. But I think because I was terrified, what I was really terrified was just putting myself out there, because a lot of people on the internet are not very nice people. And all I saw was the negative. But then I came into this space, into the uke space, and people are so incredibly supportive and positive. I was very surprised by that, how incredibly supportive and positive you all are. Is that kind of weird? But all I saw or just heard about was negativity and people bashing each other. Now, I do get my fair share of people being mean, but that's just the internet. And those comments say more about those people than they do about me. You know what I mean? So you just gotta take it for what it is. You take the good and you take the bad, and the good really does outweigh the bad. It really does. So my husband got me into this, and yeah, I have him to thank for that. It's really pushed me out of my comfort zone in a really good way, and it's really helped me just to do something that I am totally not comfortable doing. I wouldn't consider myself a tech person before, but now I'm shooting video, editing video, and making all the graphics and things like that. And yeah, it's definitely taught me a lot. Wouldn't change it. Jackie! Oh, I love Jackie. She's from Hong Kong. I love you. I love you, Jackie. All right, your favorite quote. What frightens you the most? Favorite quote. Hold, please. Oh, no, Proverbs, no, I have this memorized. I have to have it memorized. Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways, submit to him or acknowledge him, and he will make your path straight. What frightens you the most? Oh my gosh, I have kids. Just their safety and their well-being. The Bible gives us 365 reasons to not, like verses about not fearing and not being afraid. Yeah, and then I have kids. I get scared for them all the time. Sometimes I'll wake up in the middle of the night and check on my baby just to make sure that she's okay, And then Daisy Jones says, do you have any children? If so, what are they like? I have 2 kids, a 4-year-old and a 4-month-old, and they're so sweet. Oh my gosh, they're just so sweet, fun. It's fun being a mom. So, Crest or Colgate, Brian W. Whatever's on sale. I'm a frugal person. Okay, Maureen Wood says, what kind of car do you drive? I drive a Honda Odyssey minivan. Yeah. It's so convenient. I'm not the kind of person that's like into fancy cars and things like that. I mean, because I've never had one. before. Okay, Grace Base says you've posted worship song tutorials. So my question is, are you a religious person? I became a Christian when I was about 14 years old, and I really started to dedicate my life to the Lord when I was about 18, 19 years old. There are a lot of things that happened in my life, and I'm definitely a recovering people pleaser, and I would run around trying to please everybody. I was just so burdened by stress and anxiety, and my body just gave out because I was so stressed. I was trying to run around and please everybody, and trying to be in so many different activities and so many committees, and trying to feel like I was important or trying to gain importance by what I did, or gain acceptance by what I could do for people. When I heard the words, "Come to me, all who are heavy laden, and I will give you rest," and I heard that word rest, and I'm like, wow, what is it like to actually be rested? What is it like to actually stop striving? And Jesus invites us to stop striving, that we could never ever be good enough, and he paid the price of everything so that we could come to him freely. So I didn't have to do anything anymore. I didn't have to be anything anymore. He loves me as I am. He loves you as you are. And you don't have to get all cleaned up and perfect in order to stand before him and say like, okay, now I'm ready to live my life for you. He's not asking that. He said, come as you are to me. Come all who are heavy laden and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you. You know, my yoke is easy. My burden is light. And I'm like, wow, burden. Yes, that's the story of my life right there. Burden. Oh, and I'm still learning. I'm still learning not to throw myself into a tizzy of trying to please other people, and just rest before God, because he says, come to me and I will give you rest. Be still and know that I am God. And for me, as a former or a recovering people pleaser and a workaholic, because I love to work, but if I'm not careful, I will find my meaning in what I do. But it's like we are not what we do. We are someone that God loves and enjoys, and we can find rest in that. So piggybacking off of that, Rebecca Ball, do you go to church? If so, what is your denomination? My denomination, I go to a non-denominational church, and it's a Bible preaching church. And yeah, they preach right out of the Bible, and gospel preaching church. That's where I go to, Appleton Alliance Church. Okay, that'll conclude everything. My daughter is up from her nap. She is talking to me. I don't know if you can hear that in the background. I love you so much, but just know that you are loved very, very much. And I appreciate you so much. I hope you had fun with this Q&A for the first KT time, and I will see you in the next one. Bye. Did you have a good nap? 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 Oh.